Hello and welcome. My name is Amira Poli, and today we will be talking about the role of the inner child shaping directions in our lives. Every adult you met was once a child trying to survive the world around them. Before we learned how to speak, before we understood relationships, success, love, fear, our brain was already recording everything. Our family taught us how to behave. Our community taught us what was acceptable. The religion taught us what was right from wrong. Society taught us the beauty, the value, success, and even the failure. And without realizing it, we build our own identity from those experiences. Today, many of us believe we are making conscious choices, but often we are reacting from emotional memories created when we were children. A 4-year-old can still react emotionally from a pain of 7-year-old. A successful professional can still carry out the fear of rejection from childhood. This is why understanding the inner child is not only for healing, but is absolutely necessary, especially for people who work with children. Because children do not only respond for what we say, they respond to our emotional state, our patience, our wounds, our ability to regulate ourselves. Today, we are going to explore how childhood experience shape the unconscious mind, how emotional triggers affect the brain and the body, and how healing those memories can transform our lives, our relationships, and the way we guide the children of today. When we are children and when we are born, the brain is still developing. Children do not come into the world with the beliefs of themselves. They learn absolutely everything. A child learns how to respond to love, how to react to conflict, whether the world feels safe, whether their voice matters, whether emotions are accepted or simply rejected. The brain of a child is highly absorbent. Psychologists often compare it to a sponge. In early childhood, the unconscious mind records experience deeply because children depend of an adult for survival. If a child grows up hearing, "You're smart, you're beautiful, you can do it," they may develop a confidence. But if a child constantly hears, "Be quiet, shut up, don't cry, you're too emotional, you're so difficult," these messages also becomes an internal beliefs. Children usually do not question an adult. They believe an adult on a face value. So instead of saying, "My parents are stressed, my teacher had a bad day," a child often concludes, "Something must be wrong with me." And these beliefs become part of the unconscious mind of every person. The unconscious mind stores emotional memories, survival responses, and behavioral patterns. That means many adults' reactions are not happening because of the present moment, but they are happening because the brain recognized something familiar from the past. Let's say, for example, imagine a child growing up in a home where yelling happens constantly. The child's nervous system learns yelling equals danger. Yelling means danger. At that moment, the brain activates survival mode. The amygdala, the emotional alarm system of the brain, detects a danger, a threat. The stress hormones are released. Cortisol come out, adrenaline come out. The heart beats faster, the muscles tighten, the breathing becomes shallow. The body prepares to flight, to fight, to run away, to freeze, or start pleasing people just in order to stay safe. Now imagine this same child becomes an adult. Years later, a boss raised their voice at work. Even if the situation is not dangerous, the brain remembers the emotional pattern from the childhood. The adult may suddenly feel anxious, shut down emotionally, become defensive, cry, feel small, or panic internally. But why? This is not a real danger because the nervous system is reacting to an old emotional memory. The body is saying, haha, I know this feeling, and we survived this before. Many adults are living from beliefs they never consciously choose. If a child was repeatedly ignored, they may grow up believing, my needs do not matter. I'm never good enough. If they were rejected emotionally, they could say that love is unsafe. Maybe they were told children should be quiet. They may struggle to speak up as an adult. Imagine someone highly intelligent and talented sitting in a meeting with these amazing ideas, but internally, the unconscious mind says, stay quiet, your voice is dangerous. So the person remains silent with all these amazing ideas. Not because the lack of ability, but because of childhood programming is still operating in the nervous system. This is why healing is not only emotional, it is neurological. The brain repeats familiar emotions patterns until we consciously decide to interrupt them. When we are emotionally triggered, the body reacts immediately. The nervous system does not always distinguish between past pain and present reality. When triggered, cortisol increase, adrenaline activate, muscles tighten, digestion slow, heart rate raise, and the brain becomes focused only on survival, not in logic. That is why during emotional triggers, communications become harder or non-existent. Patience decreases, listening becomes more difficult, and reactions become automatic. This is especially important for people who work with children. Children can scream, reject authority, cry, become aggressive, or test emotional boundaries. That's their specialty. If any adult has unresolved childhood wounds, the child's behavior may unconsciously activate those old emotional memories. The adult may react from the wound instead of responding from the wisdom of an adult person. For example, a child yelling may unconsciously remind an adult of the chaos from their own childhood. The adult's nervous system becomes activated, and suddenly the adult is no longer responding calmly to the child in front of them, but they are reacting to emotional pain from years ago. This is why self awareness matters, especially for you then working with children. Healing begins when we stop asking, what's wrong with me? And we begin asking the right question, what happened to me? One of the most powerful patterns is through awareness and breathing. Yes, breathing. When a strong emotional reaction appears, just pause. Breathe deeply and ask yourself, why does this affect me so strongly? Why does it bother me so much? Very often, the emotional intensity is connected to an older memory. Maybe some memory that brings rejection, humiliation, abandonment, fear, or feeling of powerless. The goal is not to live and relieve pain endlessly. The goal is to recognize, I am not that child anymore. I'm not a child. That moment happened years ago. We survived it. Even more, we grew beyond it. And today, as an adult, we now have the ability to create safety within ourselves because we're adults. Healing means teaching the nervous system that the present moment is absolutely different from the past. Breathing helps regulate nervous system. Awareness helps interrupt unconscious reactions. Compassion helps rewire emotional patterns. And slowly, the brain begins creating new pathways for you, new ideas, and releasing all that is not working for you anymore. Our inner child does not disappear when we become an adult. It continues speaking through our fears, our relationships, our reactions, our confidence, and our sense of purpose. But awareness changed everything. The moment we recognize that many reactions were learned for survival, we stop judging ourselves so harshly and we begin healing. Every healed adult creates safer space for children. Every emotional aware mentor changes lives. Every conscious interactions can interrupt generations of pain. Healing the inner child is not about staying in the past. It is about becoming free enough to create different future. And when we heal ourselves, we do not only change our lives, we change the lives of the children watching us. I hope this material will help you in your personal life and in your professional life. Thank you so much for your time.